Welcome to another video from Gweilo 60. Today we're in Chemainus, Vancouver Island. This little community of about 5,000 people is famous for the murals on the sides of the buildings. As you can see behind me, here's one mural. But Pacific Shore Inn Hotel in Chemainus. I bet you it's not one of the highest end places, but it's quaint. If you look at it, it's sort of a quaint little hotel to hang out in. And beside the Pacific Shores in Chemainus is this little building here. You can see like it's an old one. The sway in the roof sort of gives its age away. It's it's old style brick and West Coast, eh? Well, you can tell this building isn't very big, but it's got some historic. Well, it just looks neat. The moss growing on the roof. You know, the little pinnacles, the old style English that was common back in the olden days on Vancouver Island. I noticed that the buildings here are a lot different. They're more of an old British style setup. You know, the old pioneer days with the cedar shakes for shingles. You notice that they're a little bit different. You know, it's a sort of an older town, and it's got murals everywhere. So I'm thinking this must be Billy Thomas, one of the murals in Chemainus. I don't know who Billy Thomas is, but he's got his face on the wall. He must be famous. It's not quite the tourist season yet, and if it was, in another month or so, all of these little stores in Chemainus, ice cream shops and stuff would be open. Family of bears, get out of here. You know, but even during the winter time, they keep everything manicured to the point where it sure looks nice in here. You know, they've taken a lot of time. You know, even things like, look at this bench here with the shrub around it, all nicely manicured. Yeah, these people have done a lot to turn this little community into a tourist attraction. Basically, the murals in Chemainus tell the history of the small town, I guess. I don't think it is to be a village. Maybe back then it was. But, you know, from the horse-drawn buggies to the railroads carrying big cedar and Douglas fir, to the people that helped to develop the property, to the Army, Navy, Air Force, just the whole history of the town is made into murals and stuff all over the community. You know, even dealing with the Chinese. Oh, here we go. Being on the west coast of Canada, Chemainus saw a lot of Chinese immigrants also, as shown in this mural behind us here. And this one actually has a name, a Ning Chang, or as she was known here, Mother Chang. Cool. She had a store in Chemainus, and I would imagine Arthur Shu En, a Chinese guy, restored this mural in 2016. Cool, eh? The history of a little town like Chemainus on Vancouver Island, Canada. When I returned to Chemainus, I went to school and helped my parents in the store. Our store was the center of activity, especially used by the people from the islands as a waiting spot for boat transportation or for the right tide to set out to meet friends. Leave messages and for any other help the family could give. My mother gave candies to the children. They called her grandmother, while the customers usually called her Mother Chang. Okay. Some more history of Chemainus on Vancouver Island. And as anywhere else in Canada, there's Chinese restaurants everywhere. Wings Cafe. I've never been in a small or large community in Canada that doesn't have a Chinese restaurant. And most of these people are from the Guangdong province, usually Kaiping, Taishan area. As you can tell by the murals, a lot of the murals have to do with logging on Vancouver Island. The one behind me here, and then the one on the other side over here, both have to do with logging. And to this day, logging is a big industry on Vancouver Island. There's a lot of wilderness, a lot of forest, you know, a lot of redwoods, cedar trees, a lot of Douglas fir. Yes, so it's a big business here still on Vancouver Island. If you look out into the bay here at Chemainus, they've got a pulp paper mill here. So there's the bay is full of logs waiting to be processed. Here's another one. Just everywhere you go, there's another mural, and you know, most of them have to do with logging in Vancouver Island. Amazing. Back before the days of tractors and skid steers and things, they used to use oxen to help carry the big lumber, big trees out of the bush. Here's proof. It's in a mural in Chemainus. Go figure. And as you can see behind me, all of the lumber floating in the bay over here. This is because they have a pulp and paper mill here in Chemainus, and the easiest, the cheapest way to move this stuff is by water. So they throw it in the water, they tug it over here, they wait for processing, and away it goes. You see this in a lot of communities on Vancouver Island. Pulp and paper mills, lumber, and you know, they do make lumber too. As you can see down here, lumber packaged, ready to be shipped out. They've got a big dock, and you see some big boats here every once in a while coming to pick up the lumber to be shipped overseas. Yes, sir. It's an international business here on Vancouver Island. This is another thing I notice everywhere on Vancouver Island is marijuana dispensaries. Check this out. Leaf Compassion. Right now they call it medical marijuana dispensary, but you don't need a medical marijuana card to get a bag of weed at one of these places. You just have to go in there and say, my finger hurts. Oh, that's good enough. You know, so in anticipation for marijuana to be legal for recreational use, you see these medical marijuana shops popping up all over Vancouver Island, and the police don't care, and they're not going to arrest you for going in and buying pot in one of these places. This is Canada. It's a different beast than China is. I'll tell you that right now. The rules and regulations, the laws are different. So what's legal here in Canada can get you in big trouble in China. That's another video from Gweilo 60. If you like this video, as always, like, comment, subscribe, push that share button. Thanks for watching. Oh, and by the way, this is H.R. McMillan behind me. It's a statue that was sculpted by Cheng Chu Ren, the author. So Cheng Chu Ren is, you got it, Chinese. So even on Vancouver Island here, has a big Chinese influence, not only in the murals, the history of the island, but in architecture, art, sculptures that are put up in public parks. You know, a lot of Chinese content.